What's up, book besties? Welcome to another episode of She's All Books, where we dive into the raddest reads that will totally blow your mind. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's chat all things books. Because life's too short for boring stories. Ready? Let's get this book party started. Welcome to this episode of She's All Books. Here with me today is Samantha Brinn. Hi, Samantha. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, thank you. This is so exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you're here. Samantha's debut book, Because of You, released a few months back. I think it was in July it released or end of June? Yeah, okay, July. And it was such a fun read. I really enjoyed it. I was messaging Samantha in her DMs the entire time I was reading it because I was so obsessed. And Samantha's next book, which is the second book in this series, comes out on October 15th. So very soon we'll have our hands on book number 2. It is in the same series, right, Samantha?
It is, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm
trash for an interconnected standalone. So
me too, is my favorite, and I think sometimes I'm just wishfully thinking and wishfully hoping that it is. So Samantha, for those viewers and listeners who might be hearing your name for the first time, can you give them your little elevator pitch just to give them some background on Because of You before we dive into the question?
Yeah, so Because of You is my debut novel, and it's the premise of the whole series is that there's 4 best friends who met in law school. 2 of them grew up together. They met the other 2 in law school. They, as the book starts, they're leaving their big law firm jobs to start a firm of their own. And so I'm a lawyer, so write what you know and all that. And so the first book follows Hallie, one of the girls, and so her lifelong best friend has been in love with her for 11 years. So when the prologue starts is his first, oh my God, she's not just my friend anymore. And so Because of You is their story. And so Ben is the twin brother of Hallie's other best friend, one of the girls that she's just been friends with her whole life. And so it's a best friend's brother, childhood friends to lovers, very I don't know, I call it a warm hug of a book. It's there's low angst, really good friend groups. I love writing about female friendship. And so really good girlfriend groups, really good guy friend groups, just all the things I love the most in romance novels. I just plugged into mine.
Absolutely. And like you just mentioned, the character dynamics in this book were amazing. Every side character you love, they all brought something different. When I was diving into the book, I loved the like you said, the prologue where we got to hear a little bit about the 2 main characters, Ben and Hallie's relationship and how they've known each other forever. Ben, to me, was the most perfect, and I think I'm using this term correctly. I'm still working on these because I get them mixed up, but cinnamon roll, is that right?
Yeah.
Or is it okay? Cinnamon roll MMC. He was sweet, but knew what he wanted, and I don't know. I just absolutely loved him, and if I ever were in that world, I would just want to hug him. Also, a little biased towards the side character Jordan, maybe because it's my name. I don't know, but all the side characters and characters were just phenomenally written, and I even put this in my review. I could not believe that this was your debut book because it would have fooled me. It just felt so, not that debut books are not well written, but this one was just such an easy, fun, captivating read that if you are new to Samantha Brinn, you've got to get your hands on this book. It was phenomenal. So
thank you. Every time someone says that, it really means a lot to me because I just really one day was I think I'm going to write a book today. And I
love that.
Writing. So it was very I'd had this idea in my head for a long time because I'm a lifelong romance reader. So I've been reading romance novels since I was 13. So
right.
I've read thousands of books. And so I always kind of had this idea for this series in my head. But it was always just maybe one day. But then all of a sudden it was okay, one day is today. This is happening.
Yes, and like I said, debut books doesn't mean that it's not going to be phenomenally written. Sometimes though, it feels like authors are getting their bearings straight because it's your first time writing a book and getting your groove. This one just felt like the groove was so there. And because I love to connect things to 90s. It gave me, like, it wasn't the same as Friends, but it gave me, like, those good, warm vibes of, like, watching the show Friends, because you had, like, the best friend's brother, like, there's history there, awesome friend dynamic, but, like, at the same time, it's definitely not the show Friends.
Yeah,
Like, two
I
different.
totally know. I also, for me, it was very, like, Dawson's Creek vibes. Like, it was very, like, Joey Pacey vibes. And, like, every time someone made that connection, I was like, oh my God, like, I accidentally wrote Joey Pacey fan fiction. Oops. Like, it was, I think, like, I was such a Dawson's Creek fan that it's like a part of me.
Too.
It's like in my subconscious.
Love Pacey. Absolutely. Well, he is a good Pacey now that I think about it. I love this. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like he pined for her. It's very like if he wanted to, he would kind of like would like stop at nothing. Like they end up together in the end.
I love it. That's exciting. Good connection there. So if you're new to this show, I love to use a paper fortune teller to set the 90s, early 2000s millennial nostalgic vibe. It's not the traditional way of using a paper fortune teller. This is just for fun and to guide our questions. So the 8 numbers inside of this fortune teller are linked to questions that I have for Samantha. And we're just going to use it and have fun with it. Samantha, are you ready for our paper fortune teller round?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so I'll read these to you because sometimes it's hard to show up. But your color options are green, pink, orange, or yellow.
Okay, we have to go with pink for the first one.
Pink, absolutely.
Magic book cover.
PINK. And your number options are 3, 4, 7, or 8. 3. All right. Question number 3. What do you hope that readers feel when they read your book and future books?
I love this question. I really just want everyone to feel like they had a hug. Like for me, romance novels are such a, like, just escape. Like they've sort of been my like constant companions my whole life. And I just, like, I want that for somebody. I just want somebody, like my book to be somebody's like comfort read. Like that was like my real intention, was just to write a book that like makes you feel good.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, you knocked it out. Awesome. And moving on to the next question.
Green.
Pink, green. All right. GREEN. And your number options this time are 1, 2, 5, or 6.
5.
5. All right. Question number 5. I love asking this question to authors because I always wonder if like authors go with tropes that they love to read or if they stay away from the tropes they love to read. So my question for you is, what tropes do you like to read about and what tropes do you like to write about?
So for me, they match. Like I just love, there's something about childhood friends to love. I mean, I'll take friends to lovers in any form. But there's something about childhood friends to lovers that just like, I just love. Like I love every childhood friends to lovers movie. I love the like Boy Next Door, like the, like Melissa Joan Hart, like Drive Me Crazy vibe where like they were best friends and they lived next door to each other. And it's like something about that just gets me every time. So I love to read it and I love to write it. So, like I also love, like my second book is a road trip, which I haven't read that many road trip books. But the ones I've read, I really, really have loved. And this sort of just like lent itself to a road trip. I don't know. I didn't say like, I think I'm going to write a road trip romance. I was like, what's the best way to tell this story? And like, it sort of just happened.
That is awesome. I'm so excited. I've only read one road trip romance book and it was awesome. So I can't wait to read it. I feel like you've already announced the title for book number 2.
Yeah.
And you've already with it too on your Instagram page, right? Can you tell those listening?
Yeah, so it's called When I'm With You. And so it follows Julie, who's Ben's twin sister, and Asher, who you met very, very briefly at the gala. So he's the football player, drafted photographer from the gala. So you only met him for like 2 seconds, but I can like tease just very like whatever very quickly that the prologue for book 2 is actually that scene at the gala, but from Asher's perspective. So it's the scene where they ask him to take their picture, but from his perspective. So we like go back to the gala really quickly. And then when the book picks up in chapter 1, it's like after the epilogue of book.
That is awesome. And for those who are new to this book, or even those who read the book, Julie was kind of like a type A character in my mind. That's how she resonated with me, as like very like busybody, go, go, go.
She's the boss. She's the boss of everyone.
Yes. And I love when those characters get their own story, because I feel like you get to kind of peel back like some of those layers that we didn't get to see really in book 1 with Julie. So I'm excited to learn.
So there was actually, she was never supposed to be second. She was supposed to be third originally. But I don't plan my books. I sort of just write, and then like whatever comes out, comes out. And so when I wrote, there's a conflict between Julie and Hallie in the book. And when I wrote that conflict, I was like, she needs to be second. Like Julie needs her redemption arc. I don't want to go through a whole second book with her like being how she is. Like we have to now, like I want to explain to everybody why she is how she is. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I want to like deep dive into Julie.
Right. And so I was like, I felt like I had done my job. My beta readers are amazing. And they, even the ones who were kind of like, Julie, like, she's sort of like on my shit list. Julie. Yeah. Everybody was like, oh, okay. Like, I understand her now. Like, I understand her now. She's very lovely.
That is awesome. I'm excited. I never like wrote her off. But of like the friends, she was the one who I was kind of like, at times.
Yeah, right. You want to like, you want to like shake her and just be like, girl.
Yes, exactly. But I think that's going to just make me love her story even more. So I'm very excited for that.
She's very endearing.
Aw, I love it. All right. Well, now I can't wait for October 15th. Green, pink, yellow, or orange?
We'll do yellow.
Yellow. This paper fortune teller has seen better days. They need to make another one. YELLOW. And your number options are 3, 4, 7, or 8. And you already answered question number 3.
Yeah. So we'll go with 7.
All right. Question number 7 is another fill in the blank, but really you can take it whatever direction you want. My ideal book crush is blank. So book boyfriend, book girlfriend, your ideal book crush is blank. How would you describe them?
Like a green flag man. Like I love a green flag man. I've taken like a very, very brief foray into like a darker romance. I read Rena Kent's latest book, God of War, because like my group chat was reading it, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna read this. I don't know how it's gonna go. And like it was good. I was like, I don't know what I'm reading exactly, but like I'm oddly taken by it. But then I had to read like 10 of the like happiest low angst books ever to recover. And then I just read another one in her series, God of Fury, because another friend of mine was like, you have to read God of Fury, because I'm like, I read a lot of MM books. Like I just love MM books. And so she's like, you have to read God of Fury. So I read it, like I got totally obsessed with it. I read it in like one day. Everything about it was amazing. And then when I came up for air, I was like, again, also like, please give me like the lowest angst book possible, like so I can recover from this. So I'm really just like, give me the green flags, like all of them.
I love it. I'm such a mood reader that kind of like what you just explained, but I bounce back and forth. So like I'll read like your book, and then after your book I read like another book that had like a super green flag MMC, and then I read a third one that had a really green flag MMC. And so then eventually I was like, okay, give me like all the red flags. Like I need like an MMC that has like every red flag. I just need like a quick little like cleanser, and then I can go back to all the green flags.
Yeah, for me, the red flag books are like, but does he really love her? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how this works. Like, it really, like, it messes with my brain in a way that, like, occasionally, like, I mean, I've only read a couple of them. So, like, occasionally, like, feels good. But then I'm like, I need a break. Like, I can't. just
Right.
too much.
Right. No, I get that too. I can't read many of those in a row. Like
But
I promise
I
watching
am in awe of authors that write like morally gray characters, like red flag guys, in awe.
Right.
Because the fact that they can,
Right.
it takes such skill to be able to write a character like that who people like fall in love with. I like
Yes.
bow down, honestly,
Yeah.
because that's
Right.
like amazing skills.
It is amazing. I don't know how you all do it. I mean, just writing in general and like the dialogue and these characters that you're able to develop so well. I'm like, there's a reason I am just a reader, and appreciating all of you authors because it is a talent.
There without, I mean, I'm before I'm anything else, I'm a reader. I've been a reader my entire
Yeah.
life and a reader of romance for many, 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 many years. And I like, it's part of the fun of being an author because like also I started a bookstagram because I love to talk about books.
Right.
So like now I get to talk, I mean, I kept my bookstagram, so I get to talk about books there, but like then I get to talk to people who are reading my book, which is crazy
Right.
cool. Like every time someone messaged me, I had a couple people who were like, "I'm sorry, is this annoying? Like, I don't mean to be all up in your DMs." I'm like, "Are you kidding? Like, tell me more. Like, tell me more."
Always slide into DMs. I'm like, if
Oh my god,
worst case scenario,
it
you'll ignore
is
me.
this is really, I mean, this is like a fun, just like a sort of like just a fun thing that I decided to do, but it is like it's the most fun I have ever had. It's like just like
That is
so joyful and so cool to like talk to people who are reading my book and like in my DMs, and I'm like, you can't wait for book 2? Seriously? Like it's just really cool.
that is awesome. For those watching, I was reading this book. This is before Samantha was ever even like in the talks of coming on this show and up like this and us recording this. But I was like in her DMs. Like I don't think I've ever highlighted as much as I did in a book in a Kindle, like with the app, as I did when I was reading this book. And I'm pretty sure I DM'd you that also.
Yeah,
But
you did also you did the mash, like the mash
yes,
thing.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
this is the best thing I've ever seen. Like the best thing I've ever seen.
I love the book, and I'm like, I love reaching. I think that that's one of the things I love the most about Bookstagram. Now I want to know your Bookstagram account. But that's one of the things I love most about Bookstagram is being able to connect with authors. Because like growing up and reading, like the authors of the books you were reading were just like this so like untouchable
Yeah.
thing. Like it was just like this thing you never thought that you'd ever get to like tell them how much you loved their books. And being able to do that is so fun. But I always like to say, only slide into the DMs if you're saying something nice. Let's keep
You know what?
Bookstagram
Thankfully,
positive.
my experience has been like overwhelmingly positive. Like I haven't
Good.
had
Good.
listen, like
Good.
Goodreads is Goodreads. Like people are gonna go on and say what they're gonna say, and like that's fine. But in my DMs and in my I have never gotten like a mean
Good.
DM. I mean, maybe I'm not like big enough to get like nasty
No,
DMs,
but that's the
but like
beauty of
none,
Bookstagram.
nothing, literally nothing. My experience on Instagram itself has been amazing, like overwhelmingly amazing.
Awesome. That's how it should be. Absolutely. And thank you for letting me chat you while I was reading. Your book.
Please.
All right.
Wait, did I do what was the other one? Orange?
Orange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did orange. I didn't do orange yet.
All right. Orange. Orange. And 1, 2, 5, or 6, but you already answered question number 5.
Okay, so let's go with 6.
Question number 6. And of course, there it is. Dropping my pen marker. If I don't write down what we've done, I will like absolutely start asking you the same question.
I feel that like so intensely.
Oh man. Okay. Question number 6. Do you have any characters like end because of you or book number 2 that are loosely based off of you or any of your loved ones?
So I like to say like all of the girls are me, basically. Like, I don't know, I contain multitudes. So I'm like Hallie's like oldest sister, like oldest daughter, people pleaser, and Julie's like,
Yes.
anxious, like control freak. And Emma's like
Yeah.
rabid introvert, and Molly's like penchant to like cover everything in sparkles. Like they're all me, basically. um,
Yes.
beyond that, like everyone just kind of came out of my head. Like I grew up in Pittsburgh, so like the setting is like everything, like all the places, they're all real. Like you can, like, I mean, Ben's bar isn't like an actual like place, but the like where the location, like where it is like all bars. It's like the Pittsburgh bar scene is like right there.
That is awesome.
But like the amusement park is a real place. The like Overlook is a real place. Like basically it's all real. Like all the neighborhoods are real. I didn't make any of that.
Right.
So it's like,
What about the lake house?
so the lake house is in a place called Deep Creek, Maryland, which is a real place.
Yes, Deep Creek, Maryland. Right,
Yeah.
from reading it. And that's why I think when I was reading it, I switched to thinking this was based in Baltimore, even though you clearly say it's Pittsburgh. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Deep Creek, Maryland, not far from me. We've been there. And then I started thinking, like, oh, wait, is this Baltimore? And then I realized, because then it brings it back up that it was
So
Pittsburgh.
a lot of Pittsburgh people go to Deep Creek in like either like the summer for the lake or like in the winter for skiing. It's like a big vacation.
So nice. Yes, yeah.
But yeah, basically like pretty much everyone's made up, except for like the girls are just, I just wrote myself. Like they're nobody but me.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool. I love it. All right. And I have a part B question to that. I'm sneaking in an extra question, question number 9, which is just hit me. How did you come up with like, I always want to know how authors come up with the names for their characters. Like, do you just like Google name search engine? Like, how do you come up with the name?
Okay. Hallie is, when I originally conceived of this series, like years ago, I was working at a huge law firm in Midtown Manhattan, and I loved the work I was doing, but I hated where I was doing it. Like working at a big law firm in the middle of Manhattan is terrible. Sorry to anybody who works there who thinks it's great. I thought it was terrible. Yeah. It's like a really hard life. And I was like miserable. And so I was like, I came up with this series then because I was like, I have to like put my brain somewhere else because I just am not happy in this job. And so when I originally came up with this series, Hallie was always going to be a name I would use because I love the Parent Trap, like Lindsay Lohan version. So I just love the name Hallie. And then for all the rest of my characters, the names mostly just came to me. I choose all of my names based on like what their nicknames would be because I really love a nickname. Like I'm Samantha, but I've always been Sam. So I just love a nickname. So so there was like Jules, like Ben and Benji, just so they kind of all just came to me. I felt like Ben was just like a good like a hometown boy, like good name. And then I don't know, there's something about J names that like I think is like really hot. Like I just like I love a J name. I don't know why. Like all the J names are the best names. So I don't know. They sort of just like came to me.
Came to you.
Yes, some of them I Googled, like so you'll see like Asher has a whole bunch of sisters, and so then I had to, and like nieces, and nephews, so I had to name all of them. So for those I just Googled, and like they're such minor characters, but like they needed names. So for those I just Googled like girls' names, like popular girls' names, and then like I picked ones that I knew I would never want to use like later down the road for something else.
That's so smart. And then that way, like it's mentioned, but like you don't have to like write a whole big long story, like plot these characters out, which is nice. Yeah, that's all. I always am just so curious. So thank you for letting me sneak an extra question in.
Yeah.
All right. Orange, green, yellow, or pink?
Go with pink again.
Pink. All right. PINK. And your number options are 1, 2, 5, or 6, but really just 1 or 2.
Yeah, okay, 1.
Question number 1. All right. I just lost my spot. My goodness. Oh, here it is. You could dreamcast for Because of You. Who would you dreamcast to be these characters, like Hallie and Ben, in a movie?
Okay, Hallie, I've always thought of like Rachel Bilson, but like not in personality so much, is just like I don't know. I had Rachel Bilson in my head. And then Ben was always Chris Evans, like Captain America version.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
I see that. Okay.
The
I love that.
blonde, like all American kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love that. I'm also still hoping that maybe we'll get like a Jordan novella. Wait, I just looked at his wife's name.
I really hope so. I know what their story is. Like I know, and so
maybe like a holiday novella.
So Allie, I wanted them to be a thing. I wanted him to have this fiance because like they are gonna play kind of a big-ish, not a huge role, but they have an important role in book 3. And so
okay.
So I put them together, but like I also really like them. So I'd like to tell their story, but I don't want to write them a full-length book because I don't want to write a world where Hallie and Ben aren't Hallie and Ben.
Right, because you have to like go backwards. That'd be so hard.
And so I don't mind. Like I would love to do that, like briefly, but I don't want to do it. So like I don't know how long novellas are, like 30,000 words. I'm not sure, but like I have to do a little research. But they would be a fun novella.
They would. I'm crossing my fingers for that. I just loved them. I don't know. They were my favorite, probably side characters. Okay. Green, orange, pink, or yellow? Green. All right. Split out my hand. Green. 3, 4, 7, or 8. So really it is just 4 or 8. Question number, I did something wrong. I'm going to cut this part out because I'm trying to get it back on track with where I had. Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay, so this was a Bookstagrammer question, and they want to know if you have a preferred drink or snack of choice that you like to indulge in while you're writing.
Okay, so so much of this book is like autobiographical. I am a Diet Pepsi and Cheez-It girl. So,
and I put that in my review. I added the little those, and it was like what, the mini Reese's, right?
Yeah. Oh, Reese's? Yeah. So the mini Reese's is problematic for me because it is my favorite candy. I also have my oldest kid has a very severe peanut allergy. So like super unfortunately, I can't like keep that stuff around my house.
No, right.
So yeah. So even though it's like my very favorite candy and it would be my like writing candy, I can't. So it's Cheez-Its and Diet Pepsi.
Cheez-Its are like the most underrated. It's salty snack.
The best snack food in the world. Yes.
Yes. I'm a Coke Zero girl over Diet Coke.
Okay, so my husband is a Coke Zero guy, and every time like when I go to Costco and I bring home like my 36 pack of Diet Pepsi, he's like, that needs to go in a different place.
Okay, so like my husband's
so anti Pepsi. It's very fun.
Okay, my husband's Diet Coke, and so we don't agree either. But I can't do Pepsi. But I love all of you all who love Pepsi. That is.
So it's really funny. It's great. Been like the biggest. I didn't expect it to be like so contentious, but
so controversial.
My husband, like, there's so many people like arguing about the Coke versus Pepsi thing. He's like, you should have known.
I love it. I have mad respect for you Pepsi lovers.
Listen,
I can't do it. I love it. And some places only carry Pepsi products, so I will totally drink it at those places.
It's a very fun debate. I really appreciate the debate.
It is a fun debate.
Yeah.
It's all in good fun. Yeah. And my husband's always like, you would never be able to like pass a taste test for that. You act like you could, but like I feel very confident that I would be able to.
So there's no way my husband wouldn't. He is a Coke Zero fanatic. Right.
Yes, yeah, that is so funny. All right, orange, green, pink, or yellow?
Yellow.
YELLOW. And your options that are left on this one are only question number. Wait, what did I just? 1. Nope, that's a lie. We did 1. Question number 2. I like messed everything up when I was writing. I was trying to listen. So question number 2 is the only one that's left. Would you like to answer question number 2? We already touched on it a little bit. It was mentioned in a previous answer that you shared. But your writing style, I know that you said you're not really a plotter. I've learned that means you're a pantser.
Pantser.
Did you just for the longest time I thought people were saying prancer, and I'm like, what is this? I need to know what this is. So do you just like listen to the characters, like let them take you on this journey? Like, tell us.
So I do all my writing because I work full time. So like I work during the day, like I put my kids to bed and I do all my writing between like 8 p.m. and like midnight, basically. Really, it's like 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. And so I've written now like, yeah, so I've written like 2 full books basically between the hours of like 8 and 11 p.m. pretty much. And so I'm like punchy during those hours. So I always like with Hallie and Ben, I had like a couple scenes in my head. Like I like one, like I knew like what the beginning scene was going to be like with her in her office. Like I had that idea. And then like I had like one random scene at the lake I was thinking about. So I had like a couple scenes. And then like the rest of it, I kind of just sat down and like whatever came out, came out. I get every now and then like I'll get an idea. So like one random day had written like probably the first like 11 chapters, and then I was like, oh my god, I know what their first kiss is going to be. So I like sat down and wrote it. I don't usually write out of order, but like it just came to me. So I was like, I'm just gonna write it. So I did. And then I had to go back and write like from where I was to there. Like every now and then I'll get an idea for a scene, but for the most part, I have no idea what's going to happen when I sit down every day. I really don't.
Love that. That's awesome. So like when you're writing banter or like dialogue between the characters, are you like just imagining this happening and writing it as it's happening in your mind?
Super weird. It's really weird. So like I've always been the kind of reader where like when I read something, I see it like most, I think a lot like most romance readers in particular. Like I read it and I see it in my head like a movie. Right. I just like I can see it happen. So it's the exact same thing when I write. Like I watch the scene. Like the scene just like is in my head. Like it plays in my head like a movie as I'm writing. It's really weird. Like it's really weird.
I love that.
It's just
that is awesome.
So
like yeah, like I would be if I were. I think that I would like be seeing it happening and like writing it because I'm such a visual processor. I think that's also why not to make this about me, I struggle with third person point of view and I prefer first person because when I'm reading a third person, and I'll read I've read amazing third person point of view books, but when I'm reading them, I feel like I'm literally like an eagle flying over them just watching this happen.
Yeah, so
versus like when I'm reading.
I struggle also like with third person point of view, but I realized recently that if I listen to them on audio, I get the same thing. So like, for example, I sat down with Tessa Bailey's new series, like Fangirl Down and The Au Pair Affair. And I struggled a little bit with Fangirl Down, and it wasn't because the story wasn't great. It was because third person is really hard for me to read. And then a friend of mine, also another bookstagrammer, recommended I listen to it on audio, and I did, and it was amazing. And so I listened to them both on audio. So third person point of view on audio is great.
Much better. Same. I like to listen to books while I do my walk and like while I'm working from home. And I've learned that like I really like third person in audio. And that's how I can kind of, because a lot of those books are so good and I want to enjoy them. I'm slower to read them in third person. But that's a good way to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a really bizarre thing that happens. Like it's weird. Like it's just like, they like take me away. Like also it's sort of like, I always say it's like the Jesus take the wheel kind of writing. Like when I was writing book 2, it was like, okay, like they're going on this road trip. Like what's going to happen? Who's to say? Like I have no idea. We'll have to see.
That's going to be fun though, as a writer, like you're on the ride with the characters, like no pun intended, but like you're actually like going through it and like not plotting it out. It's just kind of like happening. That's exciting.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think that's all the questions. I just like messed up our numbers. I think that I threw in that bonus question. I messed this up, but I do have one more question left if you don't mind, just for fun. Doing one more. Okay. I'll cut that part out because I'm like, what did I just do over here? All right. Pink Yellow, green, or orange?
Orange.
All right. Orange. And because I don't have this one written down, would you like to answer question number 5? Okay. All right. So this is our last question from the paper fortune teller. I don't know what kind of crazy writing I was doing over here, but you mentioned Dawson's Creek earlier. What were your top 3 shows or movies in like the 90s, early 2000s? You also mentioned one that drive me crazy.
Yeah, so I was big. I mean, I was a huge Dawson's Creek fan. I was a huge 90210 fan. Like the original
Oh my
Beverly Hills
God.
90210.
I'm
Like,
somebody else who is a 90210 fan. Oh my God.
yes, I am currently. Like, I'm a huge 90210 fan.
Oh,
I was watching it when I was way too young to be watching it, probably.
same.
Like I was little and I was watching it, and then I watched it again when I was a teenager. Every day there were 2 episodes a day on FX, and so then I watched it like when I was probably like age appropriate to be watching it on the reruns. And then when I was in law school, I was a big TV watcher while I would study. Like I would have it on in the background. And so it was like when I was in law school, it was like DVR was just coming out, like not TiVo, but like you could get it with your like Verizon TV package. And so I would DVR 90210. Like it was on every day, and I would DVR it when it was on. And then I would just watch it like at random. So I would have my DVR was just packed with.
I'm obsessed. I think between that and Friends, it's got to be like my tied for my number 1 show. I was watching it, like you said, when I was way too young to be watching it. My parents to this day will not let it go that I would make us late for church every Sunday morning because I was upstairs watching the rerun that came on Sunday morning. Cause like, I don't know. I was like in middle school, I think. And I'm like sneaking up and watching in my sister's room because she had a TV and I didn't. And I'm watching this rerun and they're like waiting for me out in the car and there's like 10 minutes left of the show. And I was so obsessed. And then I never lost the obsession with that show to the point where I had every season on VHS. And then when I started dating my husband we were in college. But in grad school, he started buying me every season on DVD because he's like, we don't even own a VHS player. Because at that time, like we moved in with each other. He's like, we don't even own a VHS player. Like, I'll just start getting you every season. So I have like every season on VHS, every season on DVD. Like, I still watch that when I need like a good comfort show
Yeah.
to
So
watch.
like, I don't know if this one is like late 90s, early 2000s. I can't remember exactly when it came on, but I was a big West Wing fan, huge West Wing fan. And I think it fed my like legal, like political, because I'm also like a political junkie kind of. And also I'm a lawyer. So it just something about that show just like fed me. And that was another one, like I had all the DVDs, like I watched it over. Even now, like I'll like watch it randomly.
I've never seen West Wing. Now I like want to go and track it down
It's
and
so
watch
good.
it. Yeah.
And I think like, and it just like something about it is just like this idealized world of like people like working in the White House who are just like so good and just like want the best for everyone. Yes. It's just like Martin Sheen is amazing as the president. It's just like everything about it is good. I'm a huge Allison Janney fan. I love everything she's ever done, and she's amazing in it. Just like such a good show.
What is she in this show?
She's the press secretary.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna have to check it out. I don't know why I never watched it. Like
even there was not a reason. It really does hold up. I mean, the earlier seasons, like seasons 1 through, I think there's 7 seasons. So seasons like 1 through 4 are really good. Season 5 is not so great. Season 6 and 7 are better. But I had like that. The West Wing, I was a big fan. Like 24, I was like a huge 24 fan because just my like other love is like CIA spy thrillers. Like I'm a huge romance reader, and like every now and then I'll get into like a CIA spy thriller. So like I love 24. Those were like my. I
want some book racks that are like CIA. Yeah, that is awesome. Very nice. So
like I'm a big like also like When Harry Met Sally fan, and You've Got Mail. Basically like basically I want to like live in a Nora Ephron movie, which is like my book was like kind of like I wanted it to be like friends to lovers like Nora Ephron vibe. Kind of like
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
I love those. Lately I've been just like going to bed with like a nostalgic movie on. Like I just want to like I fall asleep like shortly after the intro, but I just like want it on. Circling back to 90210, were you a Brandon or a Dylan fan?
Okay. My younger self was like a real Dylan guy. It was like
Yeah.
I loved him. I loved everything about him. My like now self is like, Kelly, Brandon loved you so much. Like I know that you and Dylan were like soulmates or whatever, but like Brandon loved you so much.
I was like it was funny like when I go back and when I rewatch it every week, no, I'm kidding. But when I'm rewatching the episodes, it's funny because I was like such a big Kelly Dylan fan when she first got with Dylan, and it was like the whole Brenda Dylan Kelly drama. But then once what was it, Mr. Walsh goes to DC or whatever it was episode, and all of a sudden she was like in DC with him, and I like didn't see that coming from a mile away, and I was like, oh my god, I love them together. I just like bounced back and forth, like I was not
Also
loyal.
bounced back and forth. Also like I loved like when like Dylan was so like when he fell in love, he fell hard. Like he
Yes,
loved Tony and he like that whole storyline was crazy. And then he left. But then when he came
I
back,
know.
like he was such a good guy when he came back. So I don't know. I'm torn. It's usually for me it's very cut and dry. Like I was definitely like a Pacey over Dawson girl. And I was like when I watched Gilmore Girls, like I was a Logan. Um
Yes.
but like with Dawson's Creek, I mean with 90210 was a much harder sell.
I feel like Dylan was definitely more of the red flag of the two. So I was curious who you were gonna pick.
Yeah, so when I was 17, it was like it's got to be Dylan. But like now in my like old like not old age, in my like older
Yeah.
age where I'm like I just want like everyone to just love each other so much and be settled and like all the green flags. I'm like really
Yeah,
Brandon.
absolutely. I love it. Well, I could talk because of you in 90210 all day long. We have to get to the second part of this, and this is my fault because I could just like drill you on not 90s nostalgia. But I'm sure you have other things you want to do after this. So the second part of this episode, I'm having too much fun to keep us on track, is a nostalgic game with a bookish twist, and you get to choose from 4 different options. And those options are MASH, never, I was about to say 90210. MASH, Truth or Dare, Never Have I Ever, or Two Truths and a Lie.
Oh, two truths and a lie.
Okay, awesome. And I say like bookish, but it doesn't have to be like totally bookish. But like we'll do for those watching or listening, Two Truths and a Lie is a fun game that people probably still play today, but I'm going to refer to it as nostalgic. That you come up with 3 statements. 2 of those are going to be truths. One of them will be a lie, and the other person has to guess what the lie is of those 3 options. And for example, like one time I did, my lie was I've never had a late library book. So like it could be anything. It can be bookish, bookstagramish, anything you want. Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Right. I'm okay. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. All right. I have not DNF'd any books this year. Have never read Monster Smut before. I'm horrible at remembering characters' names, even if I absolutely loved them and the book. Those are my 3.
Okay. I think it's the first one.
Okay, the first one is a lie, and it's just because it was a 3rd-person book, and I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish it. There's nothing wrong with the book, and I'm not even going to name what book it was. I'm going to finish it. I just had a hard time with the 3rd-person thing. All right. And then the other 2, I have never read Monster Smut. Nothing against it. If somebody has any recs, I would love to see what it's about. And then I am just really terrible with character names, and it means absolutely nothing. It's not reflective of how I feel about a book. I am just horrible with character names. Something I'm trying to work on. Okay, I can't wait to hear yours.
Okay. Okay, in retrospect, this may have been like the worst game to pick. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, I have kept every pen that I've used since I started law school. I read more than 300 books last year. And let me think. Okay, I remember the name and plot of the first romance series I ever read when I was 13.
I think first I thought The Lie was 1, but now I'm thinking The Lie was 2, although that's totally believable with some book lovers. But is 2 The Lie? Did you read over 300 books last year?
I actually read over 400 books last year. So
I believe it.
Yeah.
That is okay. Wow.
Yeah. So the
1 is The
first
Lie?
one, yeah. So the 2's The Lie. The first one, I use these like big crystal stick pens. They're like the only pens I've ever used since I started college. And right before I started law school, and I'm like obsessed with them, and I don't like I'm very careful like not to lose pens. It's like a weird compulsion of mine. So I use them like until they're drained, like totally drained. So right before I started law school, my dad was like, you really need to like start keeping your pens just to like see how many pens like you used when you were in law school.
Yeah.
So I did. I had this like Ziploc bag, and every time I would drain a pen, I'd just toss it in the Ziploc bag. And then it just like got to be a thing. It was like, well, if I can do it for 3 years in law school, then like maybe I can do it like while I'm in practice. And so I've literally been carrying this like bag of like Ziploc bag of empty big crystal stick pens from like my law school dorm to my like various Manhattan apartments, like to the first house my husband and I bought when we moved to the suburbs, like to the house I live now. It just like has followed me from place to place.
Say it's that box behind you.
No.
That's
actually my like sump. Like that's the like sump.
Okay. Got it. You're gonna open it and there's like gonna be a trillion pens of them.
So I've never counted them, but I mean there's hundreds. There's hundreds.
Wow, that is awesome.
I mean it's weird. It's weird. It's like a weird.
Yeah, it's also like an accomplishment thing. It's like look at all the amazing important things you've been writing.
Yeah, I was also the only person like in my law school class that was taking notes by hand. Like I was taking notes with a pen.
Okay, so like you and my husband are like very, very similar because he also went through law school, but he was like has to be a yellow legal pad, and like he still has every single legal pad, like from all of the notes in classes.
Yeah,
like he uses them in his current office. Like he never gets rid of any of them. It's
a lawyer thing, I think. It's weird. Yeah, and then the third one is so the first romance series I ever read was a Nora Roberts series that I stole off my mom's bookshelf when I was 13.
I love it.
And I think my mom was kind of like, go with God. Like, you do you.
Go with it. Good luck.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Do you remember which one it was?
Yeah, it was called, so the first one I read was called The Stanislavski Sisters. It was about this like Ukrainian family that emigrated to the US and they all fall in love. And then I read the whole rest of the series. So there was like the Stanislavski sisters, the Stanislavski brothers, and then there were like books about the cousins, and yeah.
Wow, I love that. That is exciting.
Like Nora Roberts was like the original, like she wrote second gen, and she like before anyone was calling it that.
Yes, she was absolutely. That is fascinating. I love it. Well, thank you for entertaining me with that nostalgic game. And thank you for bearing with me through the paper fortune teller when I got ahead of myself and all excited and out of order on our questions. I appreciate it. Samantha, I hope you come back after book 2 is released because I cannot wait to get my hands on that and talk all about it. Can't wait to dive in with Julie's story.
And ARC signups are open, so if you sign up for an ARC, you can have it 2 weeks later.
Okay, perfect. And for those watching, listening, commuting, whatever you're doing, you have to get your hands on Because of You. You will absolutely love it. I read it at the beach, but it would be a great fall read, like cozy, good feeling, warm you up. Definitely check it out. And then you'll get to roll right into book number 2.
Yes.
Samantha, where can folks, I'm going to put every link in the caption, but where can folks connect with you and find your books?
So I am at Samantha Brinn author on Instagram. Follow, DM me. I'm always there. And then my books are on Kindle Unlimited. So Amazon.
Awesome. And if you
Yeah,
are
and you can sign
watching,
up. ARC signups are through Luna Literary Management, so it's at Luna Literary Management on Instagram. Or you can just go to me, and the link is in my bio. So, yeah.
So link in right, and I'll also tag Luna Literary in the caption so people can quickly find them. And if you have read one of Samantha, or Because of You by Samantha Brinn, or you're excited to dive in and read it, let us know in the comments. If you can relate to any of the tropes that we mentioned that are in these books, definitely let us know so that we can connect with you and share a little bit more about the book with you. Thank you again, Samantha. I appreciate it. That was so much fun, and I love all the nostalgia and chatting all about the books with you. Until next time, thanks for watching this episode.
This was great.
All right. Bye. All right, book besties. That's a wrap on this totally rad episode of She's All Books. If you're digging this vibe, don't be a square. Smash that subscribe button faster than you can say as if. Want to keep the convo going? Hit me up on social media at She's All Books. Drop a comment, share your fave book, or tell me what you want to hear next. I'm all ears. And hey, if you thought this episode was all that, spread the word. Tell your besties, your mom, even that cute barista at the local coffee shop. The more, the merrier. Stay tuned for the next episode, dropping Mondays at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a blast. Until then, keep it real and keep on reading. See ya.